Another week, another adventure with Margarete Miller's Collage Challenge, week number 48. And we will be using her 5 prompts to create a whimsical collage and a curious short story again. If you like to see what unfolds, grab a drink and maybe your craft supplies and let's get crafting together. I feel excited about this week's collage and fairy tale. And so let's jump straight in and let's have a look at the 5 Margarete Miller prompts for this week. Something made from plastic, a holiday postage stamp, something humorous, a piece of brown paper, ledger paper, and as a bonus, something shaped in an oval. Okay, for the ones of you that are new here, I always use a 4x6 index card, size of a postcard, because the final collage I sent as a postcard through the mail to my mom in Germany. Let's have a look at the images. Here I'm starting with the sheep and they cover 3 of the prompts. The holographic structure here, it comes from a wrapping paper, is out of plastic. Faces are an oval and I find them very humorous. Then the next one here is the holiday postage stamp. I brought it from Germany when I went there for holiday to visit my mom just this year. Then the next one is a piece of brown paper. I have this large sheet that something was wrapped in it that came by mail. And then the last one, the ledger paper, here is a coffee dyed ledger paper. And if you are interested in coffee dyeing, I have 2 more videos that I will link down below so you can have a look at them. Okay, let's start maybe getting the ledger paper as the background for this week's postcard. I think I could have cut it down a little bit earlier, like I have this large ledger paper sheet, but I think no problem. I can use the metal ruler and just quickly tear a piece of the ledger paper in the size of the postcard. I think that's not a big deal. You don't have to wait too long for me to get it all done. Let's glue it down. And because it's paper on paper, I'm happy to just use my glue stick, but then I make sure that I really press the paper down, that I'm using like either a bone folder, I'm using here this little plastic piece. I don't even know where I've got it from, but it is really nice to press down like on this postcard. It works well. Here, and then here for the brown paper. It has this, can you see this edge? And I think I will take a piece and put it on the bottom, like for the sheep to have some like ground to stand on, or like brown grass or something like that. Wow, it's strong paper. It's not so easy to wrap. Like, wow. Who would have guessed that it is that strong? But yeah, no problem. I can glue that one down here. Because it is so strong, I think I take a little bit of the PVA glue that I have to really make sure that it is, it's catching and it's really holding tight. I'm a little bit skeptical with just using the glue stick. And as I said before, some of you might have heard me, like we had little accidents that the postcards only arrived like half at my mom's place because, it was not strongly enough attached. So I try to really press it down and make sure that it is securely attached. Okay, let's see. Cutting off the edges, just going around. It's really tough, like it's even when I cut it I can feel how thick the paper is. Okay, so let's see where we want to place the sheep. Yeah. colors, one behind the other is nice. And it's like a flower I can put on the ground, but then I would like to tear around the postage stamp that I don't have so much of the white envelope in the background. I think that looks nicer. And maybe also going around with the Distress Oxide ink, since I find everything looks nicer with Distress Oxide ink around it, especially here with the vintage photo, because the brown really fits nicely to the brown wrapping paper or the ledger paper. And I'm using again my PVA glue because it's thicker. It's a little bit like cardstock, and so to make sure it's really securely attached to the background, to my postcard. But for now, I think it's time for us to start with a little fairy tale that you can grab a drink, a tea or a coffee, lean back and hopefully enjoy the ride. Once upon a time, in the small town of Tullyton, known for its rigorous record-keeping and dull brown landscapes, there was a man named Mr. Norm Numbly. Norm was the official town accountant, which meant he spent his days and most of his nights meticulously filling in a very large, very grey ledger. Every sheep in the country was accounted for, right down to its wool weight, size and grazing schedule. Norm's life was a simple, some might say overly simple one. He spent his days marking the sheep in his ledger and his nights while trying to sleep. But the poor man just couldn't doze off. Every night was the same routine. He lay in bed, clenched his eyes shut and whispered his bedtime mantra. Stop counting sheep. Stop counting sheep. Stop counting sheep. Yet inevitably, as soon as he lay down, sheep would start hopping through his mind in all their statistical splendor, until he finally succumbed to an exhausted, dreamless slumber just before dawn. One night, after filling out his ledger for the day and drudging home through the town's brown, dry grasses, he flopped into bed and sighed. Stop counting sheep, Norm. Stop counting sheep. To his surprise, nothing happened. No sheep pranced through his mind. There was no statistics, no wool weight calculation. Just the blessed quiet he had longed for all his life. Grateful, Norm snuggled into his pillow and smiled. But just as he was drifting off, he felt a faint, glittery flash behind his eyelids. Curious, he cracked open one eye, and what he saw nearly made him drop his jaw in amazement. Instead of his usual white wool sheep, there were cartoon sheep trotting around in circles above his head. They were sparkling from head to hoof with glittering yellow fur, and their faces were somehow blue with little oval shapes instead of typical sheep snouts. Are you real? Norm stammered, rubbing his eyes. One sheep barked at him, its voice surprisingly high-pitched, as if it was trying its best to sound friendly but was barely holding back a laugh. Real enough, Norm Numbly, it said. We are here to help you stop counting us. Norm squinted, certain he'd already lost it. Wait, so you are here to help me not count sheep by appearing as sheep? Exactly, shouted another sheep, this one with an overly enthusiastic head bob. But we are not just any sheep, Norm, we are glitter sheep. No statistics allowed. They shimmered around him, tossing their sparkly wool in his face as if they are the finest confetti. Norm didn't know what to say. He wanted to scream, but mostly he wanted to sleep, so he decided to go along with it. Fine, if you are here to keep me from counting, then what I'm supposed to do with you? A particularly round glitter sheep gave him a wink. "We are here to take you on an adventure, Norm. It's time to break out of this old counting routine." Before he knew it, Norm was whisked away to a vast meadow under a surreal sky painted in shadows of lavender and mint green. The air smelled faintly of glitter glue? It was strange but oddly soothing. As they trotted through the meadow, Norm noticed that the landscape was dotted with peculiar things. A postage stamp here, a crinkled one there, each with a single yellow flower on it. He picked one up and inspected it closely. "What are these?" he asked one of the glitter sheep, whose blue nose was sniffing curiously at the stamp in his hand. "Oh, those? Just a little reminder of happiness," the sheep said. "You see, Norm, when you get lost in your numbers and woolways, you forget what life feels like outside of that ledger. These stamps, well, they are here to remind you that sometimes happiness comes in the smallest, most unexpected places." Norm rolled his eyes but pocketed the stamp. "Right, and the brown grass? What that's supposed to remind me of?" "It's just brown grass," replied the sheep with a smirk before leaping forward with a glittery kick. They continued wandering through the fields of dry, crinkly grass and sparkly sheep until Norm finally stopped dead in his tracks. Norm squinted. "Enough of this," he said, hands on his hips. "I need to sleep, not frolic with imaginary sheep in glitter glue meadows. I have to go back to work tomorrow." The round sheep hobbled up to him and looked him squarely in the eye. "Work, work, work. Is that all you care about?" Norm hesitated. "Well, yes, it's what keeps everything organized, managed." "Then why are you here with us, Norm?" Another sheep chimed in, this one with particularly large glittering eyes. "If you are so fulfilled by your work, then why can't you sleep? You are here with us because deep down you know there is something missing. You filled your life with ledgers, but not with joy." Norm was speechless. They were right. The reason he was counting sheep was that he'd forgotten how to live outside of numbers and wool weights. Suddenly, he felt the need to hold on to the stamp with the yellow flower. "A reminder of happiness," he murmured, feeling a warmth he hadn't felt in years. With a puff of glitter smoke, the meadow and the glitter sheep began to fade, their yellow wool shining like stars as they vanished. Just before he awoke, the round sheep gave him one final wink. "Remember, Norm, life is more than what you can count." When Norm woke up, he was still clutching the stamp, and for the first time in years, he felt truly rested. From that day forward, he kept the yellow flower stamp on his ledger and made a point to take at least once a day a walk through the town. And though he never stopped counting, he began to see a lot more in each page of his life's ledger. Moments of happiness scattered here and there, just waiting for him to notice. That brings us to the end of our story for this week. Okay, the only thing left to do is cleaning up here little bits and pieces from the edge of the postcard and going, of course, over our prompts one more time. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Something made from plastic. The sheep came from a wrapping paper and you can see how shiny they are, and it is pure plastic. A holiday postage stamp is here, the flower. I brought it from Germany. Something humorous, like, yes, this cartoon sheep and, stop counting sheep, the story. A piece of brown paper here on the bottom. It looks like the brown grass from the story. Ledger paper, the entire background, coffee dyed, and something shaped in an oval are the faces of the sheep. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's collage and Fairytale. If you did, as always, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss any of my videos. click the notification bell so that you will be informed. Thanks for watching, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye for now.